Good morning to you. It must be 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, August the 18th of 2020. Brandon Hardison, President Champion Strategies, for another edition of Hardison's Tips, where we try to help people who have any sales involvement with an engagement with decision makers, whether it's key account, major account up and down the street, and home sales, retail sales, or automobile sales. So we dabble in a little bit of all of it while you get to work. I try to give you some tips for the day. And today, let's just get right into it, because here's the thing. We're going to talk about effective listening. Would you believe, based on consumers who still purchase retail, the reason they do not purchase is because the salesperson did not listen? The great Stephen R. Covey said once, most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to replay. So everyone has an opinion and something to say, and that isn't necessarily a bad thing. The problem is that when people spend too much time responding and not enough time listening, having active listening skills benefits everyone and not just at work. Yes, being an active listener during a presentation is certainly going to improve your overall communications with the group, but active listening can also go a long way to settle arguments with strangers, understand your partner's needs, builds a solid relationship. If you're not what the difference is between listening and active listening, if you're not on that plane, then you're one of the people with the problem. Because once we get on that plane, we can implement change in a lot of everyone's behavior, the listener and the listenee. Improving our communications in business, though, is what we're here to talk about today. Because there's a significant difference between hearing what someone says and actively listening, processing their words, their intent. Active listening means allowing for a distraction free environment. I'm going to let that sink in a second. A distraction free environment where the person receiving and listening are all on the same page of this conversation. By communicating this way, you can better formulate a response and when it's required. Now, question is, do you use active listening skills in your day-to-day interactions with people? We should be, but we don't. You'll see your business communication improve, and here's why. You can build appropriate responses because now you had time to digest it and understand the problem. An important part of active listening is trying to really turn off the response building mechanism that you have within. And let me hear a little bit more before I come to a conclusion. Let me pay attention, because the more we listen, many times the questions that we have, the person is going to tell you if you don't cut them off too short. There are examples that we will be using in the second section where it talks to hearing and listening. And then here's what the person really meant. We need to diffuse emotions also when it comes to listening. No human is void of emotion, and although companies have historically gone through that, emotions comes up a lot when active listening is not there. So, as sales professionals, you will always hear that when we listen attentively to what the decision maker wants, we're going to be further ahead for it. But we'll pick all that up on the next part. Once again, Brandon Hardison for Champion Strategies. Hope you got something out of it. And as always, in parting, you go out and make it.